as a young person yourself, the biggest challenge for this country is the young people.
Yes.
It's between 65 to 70% of the population.
Yes, it is.
And majority of them are unemployed. The government promised 150,000 jobs yearly, but up to today, we have more young people risking their lives, going through this back journey, taking everything that their mothers work for, and most of them end up dying in disease. It's one of the biggest tragedies this country is faced with, and we haven't seen a clear-cut direction as to how to solve this. The Ministry of Youth's budget is the smallest budget in the entire country. That tells us why, what is their direction when it comes to the young people. What is your agenda for the young people, including yourself? You are one of the, you are a young person yourself.
Yes. So I'll take myself an example. You know, my track record speaks for itself. You know, when we relocated to Gambia, we've been able to create 30 jobs through Mirrored alone. And before even Mirrored, I've done other, strategic projects where I've hired 20 full-time people. So just in the course of 5 years of being here with my own funds, I'm not getting loans from the bank or the government. I've been able to create 50 full-time jobs that are sustainable, and these are good paying jobs. And then I just didn't end there, but I've also invested into training these people. If you look at Mirror, we spent close to 10 million training, the people that we have. We've brought, nurses, because we do have aesthetics and wellness. We brought nurses from America, Nigeria, Ghana, even dermatologists to come here and train, because you have to pay for their accommodation. You have to pay them to come here. Train your staff, go. Even when it comes to hairstyling, we've paid people overseas to come and train them. And then even the time and resources that I've invested, some of this training I'm also doing myself. I'm training them on customer satisfaction. I'm training them on punctuality. I'm training them on, proper etiquettes, how to be a professional. Because you're a hairdresser doesn't mean you need to be professional. You should be marketable. When your clients come, they'll be like, yes, this is, she's clean. We're teaching them sanitation. So we've taught them a lot of soft skills. We've taught them a lot of hard skills so they can excel at the job. Some of these, folks that we hired, when we hired them, they didn't even know how to sanitize properly. A lot of them didn't even know what a barbicide was. So I was like, how do you sterilize your equipment if you don't even know what barbicide is? It's ridiculous. But that already shows you the gap that we have in this country. I've seen, them, make announcement, we've opened this vocational school, but I don't even know what these people are learning there. Because we still have a huge talent gap in this country. So for us to be able to fix the youth problem, we need to educate them first. Through education, they can be empowered. So, our agenda for youth and how to address the unemployment issue, the gap that is needed should be bridged. We're gonna, we need to train them. We need to make them. We need to create a workforce that's ready for work, and then we need to empower Gambians to be leaders. For most of these industries, right? Like as Gambian today, we have a sanitation problem.
Yes.
Everywhere you go is filthy.
It's filthy.
Trash everywhere. We don't have a system to be able to collect trash and dispose them off properly. Some of these easy jobs, there's something called waste to value in business. A lot of jobs we can easily create, for the youth, even today as we speak, is waste management and turning it into value. Like they can collect all this trash. We can create. The government can help them create a system where the youth, we're giving them trucks, to clean the street, make sure everything is clean, and then they're able to convert waste, recycle them, and turning them into valuable items. We don't even have to import fertilizers because most of these wastes are organic waste.
Yes.
Yeah, we can turn them into compost and then sell them to fertilizers. The youth can do that, but you just have to train them. They don't know how to. So we need people that knows how to. There's a lot of Gambians that are great in agriculture. I've met people with doctorate degree in agriculture. So we need to get those people, find them, go reach out to them. It's like, hey, the government wants to start a compost business. You have a doctorate in agriculture. How do we train our people? And then we need to put mechanisms in place because we can kill two birds with one stone. We can make Gambia the cleanest country in the world with high hygiene standards. We get in trash easily. And then those trash can boost the economy. It's called circular economy. So what circular economy does is it gets waste, it prevents wastage, but then you're taking that waste and turning it into something productive that you can sell.
Yeah.
I've been to other countries where they process all this waste products, plastic and stuff, and then they're able to turn them into pavement blocks. You go to these countries, the pavement blocks are so cheap. So what the government actually end up doing is buying these pavement blocks to pave inner streets, not the main highways, inner streets. Because those pavement blocks too, they have high resistance, they can last longer. That can create millions of jobs.
Yeah.
But when it comes to pavement blocks, we have to import them. And you can actually create pavement blocks from waste, recycle it, process it, and that could create millions of jobs. And those are easy jobs. These are not hard. And then you're getting the waste for free, remember? It's free. You're not paying for the waste. And then we can also use waste to generate electricity. We have a big electricity gap here. And there can be no successful manufacturing in the Gambia without energy independence. And our agenda talks about that energy. We should find, yes, we do import, energy, but that should be a stopgap solution. We should have a long-term goal. How can Gambia be self-sustainable when it comes to energy? And you can do that from waste. When you get this organic waste, you can turn it into biofuel. And this biofuel, they're like liquefied natural gas. We can even use it for cooking gas. Cooking gas should be the cheapest thing in the Gambia because we have waste everywhere. You go to Tanje Fish Market, you have waste everywhere. These are organic waste that can be easily turned into biofuel like diesel, liquefied natural gas. This is how we're supposed to think. You get in waste and turning it into money. That's like the most profitable business because the waste is free. All you're doing is processing it. And then that waste also, you can create gas, and then you can include engine turbines that can turn that liquefied natural gas into electricity. Right? I've seen countries, that use this model to generate electricity. And then we can increase our output. Because if you look at Banjul and the greater Banjul area, we have about, we generate about as a country, just Banjul and greater Banjul, 250,000 tons of waste, organic waste.
Organic waste.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And then you can turn that those waste into biogas. And then from that biogas, you can use it to generate electricity. And from my mathematics, if I do the math, 250,000 tons of waste can generate millions, maybe 20 million cube of biofuel. And those 1 million cube can easily generate 2 gigawatt hour of electricity. So Banjul and greater Banjul area alone, if my math is super accurate, we can generate close to 40 gigawatt hour per year. And then as a nation annually, we consume about 450 gigawatt hour of electricity. Between 400 to 500, it fluctuates every year. So through waste, we can actually generate up to 40 gigawatt hour, which is 10% of what we consume. And this is just the greater Banjul area. So imagine if we do that for the other 5 regions, CRR, North Bank, Lower River. We can actually produce maybe another 300. And once that is done, it will be so cheap because we have abundant energy. And that is just waste alone. Now, and they can even supply NAWEC, right? Because, if we empower youth to get into waste recycling and that circular economy, they can create pavement blocks. They could even generate electricity that they can sell to NAWEC. And we have abundant sunlight in the Gambia. Why don't we have our own solar manufacturing pioneers? We have abundant of sunlight.
Yes.
As a country, we should be able to be producing our own solar panels. So what that does is it will make solar panel cheap because it's made here. And then we can have residents. They can sell it to residents, the whole of Gambia at a subsidized rate, where that solar energy too, the excess, there's something called net metering in electricity. So when you generate excess, then you can use, it goes back to the grid. And then now I can give you credit for that. So we wouldn't have this issue of cash power because we're a small nation. Cash power will be so cheap and countries will rush here because we have cheap energy. Sunlight alone, you can power your whole house because we have sunlight 9 months. Even in the rainy season, it doesn't rain every day. We have very little rain. So through solar energy alone, we can be self-sufficient. And the waste that I'm telling you about, we can generate 300 gigawatt hour extra. And you can have manufacturers, you cannot have a industrialized nation without energy.
No, you cannot.
Yes, exactly. So we can quickly solve these problems and empower the youth. These are not complex projects.
A lot of people will tell you these are fine ideas, but it's implementation and the resources to do it. Because
we just have to put the resources into good use.
We need to be organized.
Yeah, we need to be organized. We cannot be a country that continuously mismanage resources. We have not just mismanagement, but poor management.
Poor management.
And the poor management comes from the leadership.
Wow.
Because they don't have a good mechanism. Mismanagement happens because there's poor management, very poor oversight. You know, the people that are running the projects, they don't even have deliverables. It's like I give you a project, I didn't outline the deliverables. You don't even know what you're supposed to do.
Up
yeah. So you should have deliverables. And I should be paying you a salary, or you should have, you know, performance review, like, oh, yeah, this deliverable is done. We should have a checklist. Every department in Gambia should have a checklist. Yes, we've been able to achieve this. So any sector that's underperforming, they should be forced to resign or not get paid because you haven't delivered to the Gambian people.
Yeah. Now, let's look at the health sector. That's another big challenge for us as a country. I mean, the president's mother had to travel to Senegal
for treatment.
I tell people that only tells us what is the state of our healthcare system. You can tell me our healthcare system is good. I'm just going to tell you, well, if it was good, we would not have the first family going to Senegal. They will be treated in this country. What is your agenda when it comes to the health sector?
Yeah, for healthcare is something, not just me, I know Nene.
And you know what, I want to congratulate you on that though. And that's what I love about your party. Your running mate is a female. And you have a running mate system. That is amazing. You know, I am one advocate for women in leadership. I am one advocate for women in politics because I believe something. When women put their mind to something, they get it done. And having her, I wanted us to talk about her in a bit, but I'm excited about that. Having a female as your running mate and somebody so outspoken, vocal and all that stuff, we'll talk about that. But the health sector first. I'm excited about that part, though. I just wanted to say that.
The reason why I brought Nene up is because she comes from a healthcare background. She has a successful healthcare business in America. You know, that's where I believe I could lean in on her expertise, because she's done it and she has proven track record. Like I said, I'm smart, but I can't solve everything. There are things that I'm expert in, but there are things that
you're not.
I'm not. But we need like-minded visionaries to, you know, to help so we can complement each other, because we all have, you know, unique skill set. So without diving into Nene, the healthcare, we have a deplorable healthcare, you know, situation from, you know, not having the proper equipment. Even how they dispose things, you know, you know, how they dispose, you know, this medical stuff in the Gambia, you know, those are all biohazard risk, right? We have a huge talent gap. You know, yes, we've seen a lot of nurses graduate, but we don't have specialists in this country. You know, in the whole of Gambia, we only have 2 dermatologists, and I think they're Cubans. We are the Gambians. We have a youthful demographic. We have people going to school. Why are we not sending them to go learn dermatology? And the reason why I'm using that as an example is because I'm in that business. I couldn't find one here. The ones that are here are already working in the government sector. They're not going to leave that job to come work for me. I have to go find people outside. We have to look for, you know, nurses in that area to come here. So it's sad. But that's where we feel like, you know, the government have to step in. We have to look at key sectors, especially healthcare. We should not have scarcity of, you know, trained, seasoned Gambians. You know, that's a national priority. And if you look at our Golden 9 agenda, healthcare is on the list. So, and we also need good, not just good equipment, but state-of-the-art infrastructure, you know, in West Coast region. West Coast is the most densely populated, right? We should have at least 3 state-of-the-art, magnificent, you know, I'm talking about hospitals that can accommodate 20,000 people. We should have 3, at least minimum 3. And in each region outside of West Coast, like North Bank, you know, Lower River should at least have 1 in those to start. Because obviously we cannot come out here and say we're going to build 100. You know, that's not feasible. So these are things that we should prioritize over everything else. You know, because if you look at all this excess, unnecessary spending, people per diem, no accountability, you know, within the sector, these are all funds that can easily, if you look at the report, right, that just came out today in 2021 to 2023, you know, close to $50 billion. You know, we're talking about almost $800 million. And we could have used that to build, a proper
That would have
healthcare
developed this
infrastructure. Yes.
country, yeah.
And then we need to train. Like I'm saying this, right? Gambia can never be self-reliant if Gambians don't take the lead. Gambians can never be self-sufficient if Gambians themselves don't know how to be experts in healthcare, in agriculture, in manufacturing. So we need to empower Gambians. That's why our agenda is just 9. And we are focusing on agriculture, food security, modern infrastructure. We need Gambians that are great at construction. They need to see, whatever we're building as a nation should be world class. We should be able to compare ourselves to be better than Senegal in terms of world class infrastructure. But you can't do that if Gambians are not into construction or they don't know how to.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important we educate our people. We train them. We have vocational school, boot camp. And we're bridging the gap. Right after high school, we're incentivizing private sector to also hire them. We should have a program, especially for entry-level workers. Somebody can go to GCTI, be an electrician, but they don't know where to work to get the experience. So we can bridge the gap. Like, Fatu has an electric, construction company. She even has a contract. Like, hey, Fatu, we'll give you, tax breaks. We have students graduating from GCTI, these are entry level.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to train them.
Yeah.
We can give you grants or we can give you tax credits, to bring them in. So that way, when they train,
They do practicals with you.
Yeah, exactly. They can go set up their own businesses. So in terms of healthcare, we're doing really bad. We have the deplorable healthcare system. And unfortunately, it's sad to see our leaders go to other countries.
Yeah.
But they have the privilege. But what about the Gambian women that are dying?
Yeah.
Look at maternal death in Gambia. It has increased. And then we've been getting funds from UN and so many places, IMF, World Bank. And then maternal death hasn't solved here. You go to clinics here, they don't even have a good ultrasound system.
Yeah.
People don't even know the gender of their kids until the day they're delivering. And then when it comes to prenatal care, absolutely the worst. Most of these women lack basic nutrients when they need to do their prenatal. And for postnatal care, it's even worse. So these are all the things we need to put in place. And we need Gambians that are educated, that are in the healthcare sector. Not just these nurses that are graduating. And most of them that are graduating it's mostly theory. They're not doing a lot of practical. We don't have specialists. We don't have surgeons here. This is what the country is in dire need of. So when it comes to training and empowering Gambians, those are key sectors we need to make sure our people are well trained. So they should know how to manage it. We shouldn't depend on foreign entities.
Yeah.
Like, look at the situation with even the company that generates electricity, Car Power.
Yeah.
They, when the contract ended, they were gone, right?
Yeah.
But then Gambians themselves couldn't manage it. They had to bring them back. That already tells you how inefficient the system is. So even if we bring in foreign entity because of their expertise and they have they come from countries that are doing well,
we should be able to have
a mandatory knowledge transfer in place.
That's
right. So that way, when that contract is...
That's what happened with immigration. Our ID cards, when we had, what's the name, those people come, the contract said they will be transferring the expertise to our immigration department so they can take up. But when they left, up to now, it's difficult to get ID cards. My ID card has expired.
Because they don't know how to. They don't have the expertise. So this contract needs to include knowledge transfer.
Yeah.
And there should be periodic checks to ensure, yes, our people are going to be capable. And there must be a clause in there that says if the Gambians can't even run it, we should have some form of credit back. Because sometimes some of these companies may want to sabotage because they obviously want you to depend on them. But that's where you need people with business acumen, people that have closed deals. I have closed multiple deals, multi-million deals. I'll come
to that because some of us we're getting a little worried about businessmen because our current president is a businessman.
Yes.
I'll come to that.
Okay, no problem.
But let's look at the women. We elect leaders.
Yes.
We the women. We are a majority. We are, I think, 55% of our electoral. So whoever we embrace, whoever gives us the best policy,
of course,
should be the next president.
Yes.
What is your plan for the Gambian women? The ordinary Gambian woman wakes up at 5:30, 5 o'clock, go to the market to sell their produce, sell those produce, do their nduga, come back home, cook that meal for their family, go back to the furrow in the evening. We don't have a lifestyle. It's just work, and have nothing in the savings. How are you going to help uplift the life of that ordinary woman?
Yes, and that's really sad. And a lot of women are the breadwinners in the Gambia, and it's sad. Even when Nene and I went to Farato to do that project, can you imagine Farato, which is not even far from here? Women are waking up at 3 a.m. In the morning just to get basic amenity like water. In the Gambia, and the project only cost $300,000. They haven't had basic amenity like water for years, over 10 years. In a big garden like that. Totally unfathomable.
It's crazy.
So for me, women, I have daughters myself, and I want them to thrive. I want them to be successful. And right now, as a country, we are not remotely even close. And this is why, Golden Era has been formed. We want to usher in a new era where women can thrive, the youth can thrive. So for women, we need to empower them. And when I say empowerment is, I feel like more women, since they're already in agriculture, right, farming, feeding their families, going to the market, they already have the produce. We can empower them by having them go into agro-business, where, women that are already selling tomatoes, right, they can be able to turn that into tomato paste easily.
Yeah,
we can empower women there, and lemon, they can easily turn that into lemon juice. Some of those processing plants are not expensive. I've been to China a few times.
Yeah,
it costs $20,000-$30,000 small scale to start somewhere, and we should be and we can do that by guaranteeing them loans through the bank, giving them financial credit, and some could be grant, and we should give grant to women that are already in that business. They're doing it. And then the grants can have stipulations like, hey, you must be able to hire at least X amount of people, so that way they can also have the expertise to set up their own. So since women are already into farming, some of them have fish. I live in Brufoods, close to Tanje, and I see a lot of these women that sell fish, but they get, their supplies from foreigners.
Yeah.
So now what we have to do, since we are all about Gambia first, we can empower these women, give them trawlers.
Yeah.
So that way they can be the suppliers now. They could go get the fish from the deep sea and then come back and sell it. It shouldn't be the other way around. Because right now, foreigners, I don't have any issues with foreigners, but I'm Gambian and I want to empower Gambians.
Yeah.
Because if Gambians don't have the basic means to survive in the country, I wouldn't expect them to find it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Other countries are empowering their own. I have no issues with foreigners. They are welcome to come here and compete, but we need to empower foreigners. Made in Gambia should be a thing. So women that are already into fishing, we're going to give them trawlers. We're going to train them. They could go get the fish and get into the fishing business themselves and hire Gambians, So that way, even fish will be more affordable.
Yeah.
Because there's no control in the market. Some of these foreigners, what they do is they collude and say, oh, there's scarcity, so they could raise the price of fish.
Yeah.
And these women barely make profit. They have very little margin. So when they create this artificial scarcity, man, it becomes hard for them to be able to even buy and sell, because they're just resellers.
That's true.
So now we want to empower women. Hey, we're going to train you guys. It doesn't matter what language you speak. We're going to have community project managers train you in the language you understand. You're going to get the fishing, and we, the government, are going to step in. We have an integrated application or system in place where we can easily connect you to the buyers.
Yes.
So that way other people are not exploiting them. And then it becomes a free market where you can actually stabilize the prices, because you have now enough producers, And then more women, not all of them can be suppliers of fish or farming materials, but they could get into agribusiness. Some can go into tomato paste manufacturing, lemon juice manufacturing, domoda, the granite, right? Some are farming, some are already processing that into peanut butter. And these are things that can easily supply a lot of retail stores. And a lot of retail stores will like that, because it will be cheaper for them to buy and resell and also make profit, instead of importing, having to pay duty and all this stuff. So we need to empower women to go ahead, even the young ones, go ahead, empower them, so that way they can also sustain, because right now they are the ones sustaining their community. And the country is already hard. Imagine if you empower them, what they could do.
They could do.
Yeah.